am pleased now to introduce to you Craig Mundie. Craig Mundie is Chief Research and Strategy Officer for Microsoft Corporation. He oversees Microsoft research globally and is responsible for the long-term technology strategy for the company. Please, everyone, let's warmly welcome Craig Mundie.
Thank you, Joy. It's a pleasure to be here in Beijing today and to recognize the 20th anniversary of the founding of Microsoft Research. When I think back, it's really quite stunning to realize, as I walked in and looked at the video, Nathan Myhrvold was speaking, and it was in 1975 that Microsoft was started. And only 15 years into its operation, Bill Gates and Nathan had a strong belief that if Microsoft was to survive and prosper over the long term, that we would have to be able to be in command of knowledge and understanding about the things that would be important, as opposed to only the things that were currently important. And for a young company, to make this commitment to the creation of Microsoft Research, I think was a very important thing and quite profound in its ultimate realization. They hired Rick Rashid to put together Microsoft Research, and over this 20-year evolution, it has become certainly one of the premier, if not the premier lab in the field of computer science on a worldwide basis. As we sit here today and stop for a moment to recognize this 20-year evolution and its anniversary, we have 6 labs that will be participating. Microsoft Research truly is a global operation. And today we decided to have this celebration sort of follow the sunrises as we moved, starting here in Beijing and moved east to the Redmond lab and our Silicon Valley lab, then the lab in New England in Boston, and then Cambridge in the UK, and finally with the lab in Bangalore in India. And I think if you think about how the company has evolved, how global the Microsoft technology reception has been, and the importance of having people from around the world participate in this long-term evolution, I couldn't be prouder of the capabilities that exist in our global capability today. In the course of the day, we will see demonstrations across an incredibly diverse range of technologies that start with some of the more basic elements of the evolution of computer science, range through issues related to cybersecurity, machine learning, big data, lots of things related to natural user interface. And in fact, that's one of the capabilities that we'll see here in the Beijing operation. In the course of our 20 years, Microsoft Research has transferred literally hundreds of technologies from the research stage into production in our products. Some of these are very small, some of these are very large, and we take great pride in each and every one of these transfers of capability. When people ask me, why does Microsoft do research? In fact, it's quite unusual, certainly to do it at the scale that we do in the world today. But we believe that it's important for 3 different reasons. One, it's important that we have a way to continue to work with the product groups in the company to refresh these core product businesses that we have, for them to be sustained over time, particularly in an environment where people are not obligated to buy new products. They must go out and buy them because they bring new value. Research has often contributed new ideas that allow the products to evolve in important ways. And when coupled to the innovative capabilities of the development organizations themselves, these things produce enhancements that really keep the products fresh over the years. The second important reason is that occasionally we want to be disruptive in the market ourselves. And it's important to be able to draw both the talented people as well as the ideas that they've produced in the formation of new business opportunities for Microsoft in the large. And while that's a more rare event, it certainly is one that we have done over the years. Microsoft started with a fairly narrow focus, initially on programming tools and then operating systems. But if you look at the corporation today, it's incredibly diversified, ranging from the interactive entertainment businesses to phones, personal computers, software for cars, global data center services, just an incredible array of capabilities. And many of these things had their genesis in part in the work that was done in Microsoft Research. The third reason is that despite a dream that we might have all the world's good ideas, we know in practice that will never happen. And so we're in a highly competitive industry. And oftentimes when the marketplace evolves in a way that surprises us, we can often look to Microsoft Research as a mechanism that buffers the company against these kind of competitive activities or surprise technological evolutions. And we turn again to the people and ideas in the Microsoft Research environment in order to be able to help us move and address these kind of competitive challenges. I think it's important, one area where that was clearly the case is in the area of global internet search. And Microsoft recognized that this search technology would not be important strictly because it was interesting to find web pages around the world, but that as the internet services evolved and became an integral part of how people would operate a great many applications in the future, we made a fundamental commitment that we would move to compete and be a global player in this internet search technology. And today when you look back, the pride that we can take in the evolution of Bing as the Microsoft global search system is really, really great. And of course, it's been an intimate relationship between Microsoft Research in a number of the labs, but especially here in Beijing, coupled to the Bing Development Organization that has allowed us to make the technological and marketplace progress that we have. One of the examples I want to cite about these kind of technology transfers and how they play an important role is in fact a project that was codenamed Tiger and which is currently going through a global deployment as part of our Bing infrastructure today. This is a case where many people don't think about it, but the scale of the systems that have to be assembled to process the amount of data that's involved in indexing virtually the entire World Wide Web as it continues to evolve every day, these are staggeringly large systems. And to be able to design systems that not only continue to improve the operation of these things, but also to control their costs is critically important to the company and its long-term cost base and competitiveness. So this new system, codenamed Tiger, that was developed conceptually here in the Microsoft Research Asia Lab and developed over the last year with the Bing team, is now creating that kind of radical change. We've been able to take advantage of new technologies like solid-state storage and figure out a way to seamlessly integrate that into the Bing search system, maintaining the quality of the searches, but improving the price performance for the company and being able to do this by as much as a factor of 2. And when you look at the literally hundreds of millions of dollars that have to be invested every year in this kind of computing infrastructure to provide those kind of services, it makes a material difference not only in the quality of the product, but in the cost that it takes us to provide those capabilities. And so I certainly want to commend the launching of this capability, but recognize that it's just one of many. Another great area of investment for Microsoft and all of the labs around the world the last decade or so has been in the run-up to what we now call the natural user interface technologies. Our belief for some time has been that as much progress as we've made with personal computers and even with the arrival of smartphones and televisions and game consoles, each of which have had a slightly different interface, most of these still have depended primarily on the graphical model of man-machine interaction. And while that's potent and will be valuable for a long time, we've also believed that for computing to bring benefits to a great many more people around the world, that we would have to go beyond the graphical interface to this natural user interface, where the computers become more like us and where they become more of a helper and less of a tool. In doing this, we believe that literally billions of more people will find benefit from access to computer facilities. And no matter what device they may consume these things on in the future, the ability to do it in a way that's much more human-like in both the modalities of interaction and the benefits that it brings, we think will be very, very important in the future. Microsoft Research has been a fundamental contributor to Microsoft's ability to be a leader in this field of natural user interaction. Perhaps another example of one of the really big collective transfers happened with the launch 1 year ago of Kinect for Xbox 360. This is really the world's first mass-market natural user interface system, where in fact you leave behind completely the idea that you have a mouse, a keyboard, or anything that you touch in order to be able to operate the system. Rather, your own gestures and spoken words become the principal interface to interact with the game console. But the range of applications for this is extremely broad. And again, with the help of Microsoft Research, in June of this year, we announced a software development kit allowing the Kinect camera and microphone technologies to be just plugged in to any USB port on a personal computer. And with that, we've unleashed an incredible array of new ideas that some are being developed by Microsoft. Many are being developed by the world's development communities, whether academic or business or just people at home in their spare time. And I think these are a fresh reminder to us of how important it is to bring these radical ideas forward, to have the capability that the corporation Microsoft represents in terms of the resources, people resources, financial resources, communications resources, to expose the world to these capabilities and to give them the tools to build on them themselves. And so I take great pride in the achievements of Microsoft Asia, certainly, and all of their colleagues in the other 5 labs. I look forward to another 20 years worth of fantastic development, and I want to congratulate everybody for the work that they've got in this great 20th anniversary.